Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Eric Broadus back again with another video. And today, video is titled, Have an IDP for Your Life. Again, today's video is Have an IDP for Your Life. Now, I'm quite sure you're wondering, what is an IDP? And as you can see, I have my have a little chart up here. An IDP is an individual development plan. In layman's terms, is basically a plan to a career development plan. And using this plan, an individual will set career goals and have deadlines and career strategies in order to reach those goals. Now, I decided to take that concept and apply it to an individual's life, an IDP for your life. And the three, I feel in my opinion that the three sources in everyone's life, in every human being's life, that our lives, probably about 90% will revolve around, as you see in my chart. Number one would be time management. The second would be resources, and the third would be relationships. I believe that for every human being, our lives are centered and based around those three things. Time management, because in my opinion, I believe time is more valuable than money. Time is the one thing that keeps on moving and that you can never get back. So you have to manage it wisely and as best as you can. Make the most of it. Resources. Well, without resources, what can you get accomplished? And resources are not just money. Resources can be abilities. It can be access. Maybe access to certain groups or certain people or certain things, people, places, and things. And without this access, you wouldn't be able to get certain things accomplished, or either get them accomplished as fast. Having access can, and knowing the right people can give you a leg up. As it's always, the old adage goes, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And third, I would definitely say relationships. As human beings, we are relationship oriented, and as long as you are here in this lifetime, you are definitely going to deal with different types of people, and you'll experience different types of relationships during different periods or stages of your life. Now, what prompted me with this train of thought is that I was reflecting upon my own life, and I was sharing some experiences that I had with a friend. And I'm not calling names or anything like that, but as many of you know, I did a full career in the United States military, and I spent most of that overseas. And most of the people that I met in the armed forces, most were productive, and they weren't the type to sit around being idle-minded. What they did their best to try to plan out their careers or what their next move was going to be. In the armed forces, the environment is very competitive, and you have to get promoted within a certain time frame. It's called a high year tenure, and if you don't promote to a certain grade within a certain time frame, Uncle Sam is only going to give you so many years to remain in at a certain grade, and after that, basically you have to be discharged because you haven't advanced. So the government doesn't want to continue to spend money, time and resources on a GI that I guess maybe for their that's not meeting their standards in a certain time frame. So if I could make that simple. But I had noticed something when I came out the military and I came back to the United States. I'd seen different individuals, and I understand that we did have a recession, which that hit worldwide. But in 2008, what I began to see was the beginning of the haves and the have-nots. Now, understand, you've always had have and have-nots anywhere, and that's all over the planet. But when this recession hit, there were individuals, or if you can say, there's been a certain percentage of people that have fallen down in class level. And there was let me see, there's one particular lady that I knew, and I had considered possibly dating. And so, you know the deal. You meet them and went out maybe a couple of dates. And what I was surprised, I'm enthused, I'm excited, and I'm telling her, yeah. So I begin to converse with her, and so I'm asking her, so what is your 5, 10, or 20-year plan? And what the individual said to me was that, well, what are you doing that for? Why do you have to think that far ahead? That's so long out. And I was just like, well, wait a minute. And so at the time, the individual is in their early 40s, and at the time they had a child, or that was going to be a teenager. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You're at a certain age and you're not thinking ahead. And I was actually shocked. And that wasn't the only individual that I've met or seen, and not just dating, but just even as associates, or just associating with them. And I was amazed and shocked to find that there are some people that are adults that have not appropriately made plans for their future, for whatever stage you are in. And I was very shocked by that. And so what happened is that this person had a habit, and what I found out really, really quick, had a habit of begging for everything. And granted, I'm not a cheap person. I don't mind springing, especially if you're gonna be my date. But I had noticed even amongst her friends, she started to beg them for stuff, constantly begging. And if any of you know, if y'all Generation Xers, and if y'all remember, I don't know if the West Coast might know, but I know probably the East Coast might remember this song, this rap song called "Begging Billy." And begging Billy, say always like to beg. He's very stingy, But that is what this individual reminded me of. And understand, nobody likes a person that begs all the time. And so even I noticed even her friends were kind of put off. But the reason why I brought that up was what I figured out is that this individual, in a sense, has to beg or begs their way through life. Even though they work, what it is, they failed to think ahead or to plan, and as a result, they are not as financially sufficient, I guess, maybe, as they should be. And so as a result, it was the constant whining or the begging. And so I went to a barbecue with family and stuff like that, and the relatives, everybody else was on point, had it together, self-sufficient. And so we got into a debate, and so I had finally asked her. I said, well, can I ask you something? I said, don't you want anything for yourself? And the individual responded to me abruptly in a bit of a nasty manner. Well, I guess you're not the one for me. And I said, well, okay. I said, I guess obviously not. And so what I did, I left her there at the barbecue with her family, and I left because I had to make a decision. And so when I talk about individual development plan, notice on that board I have relationships up there. And this right here is really, this is really crucial, especially for young people. This is for all of us of any age group, but especially for young people, young men and young women. Let me start with the young men first. In terms of your relationships with the opposite sex, you have to know how to wisely vet the women that you would tend to date or court. Be careful of who you allow into your life and into your space. Because if you allow the wrong woman or the wrong person in, they could mess your life up, or either could mess up everything that you worked hard for. And that includes being caught in pregnancy traps. So definitely, for the young men, consider wisely about who it is that you're going to date. Know how to vet the opposite sex. Know how to vet them, so you don't find yourself caught up in unfortunate circumstances or a situation. Because if you get woman pregnant, that is definitely going to change the course and the trajectory of your life, especially if it's not something that you planned for, that you were ready for. Like, say for instance, through marriage. And I experienced that myself, which I'm thankful that I had my son. Definitely, I'm always grateful. But you want to avoid making things more complicated in your life than what they have to be. So make sure you know how to vet the opposite sex, so that you make sure that you bring someone of quality into your life, and not somebody that's gonna cause you problems or mess you up. Now, for the young ladies, I would definitely say you gotta be careful of the men that you allow into your life, and whom you share intimacy with. And the reason behind this is, if you can help it, you don't want to be a single mother. Consider the men that you intend on dating. You got to consider that. Is he someone that's responsible? Consider that young man's character. What's his character like? Anybody can be smooth talking, but game only lasts so long. So when I talk about an individual development plan for your life, consider who it is that you're going to be dating, or whom you choose to hook up with. Because just like for the guys, you hook up with the wrong guy, you can have a bunch of problems. And then definitely, if you need an IDP for your life as a single woman, if you bring a child into this world, you definitely had better have some plans, because now you're not thinking for one, you're thinking for two. And you want to make sure that your offspring has the best chance to succeed in life, especially with these times that we're living in. But anyway, let me move along. But relationships, as people, we have to be we need to be cautious and be aware of who it is that we allow into our lives, into our personal space. And the more you gain, the air gets thinner at the top. And the more you gain, if you have more to lose. So you definitely want to be make sure you vet who you allow into your life, whether it's certain friends. Make sure you have you hanging out with people that can help move you forward, or that are at least like-minded. And I have a story I had to learn along. I learned this. This before I came into the military. But my parents always told me, everybody that smiles in your face is not your friend. And so you have a lot of haters out there. And I found this out when someone years ago that I thought was my friend, they accidentally slipped up and told me what they actually thought. And I had the opportunity to go into the military, where they had messed themselves up by getting a record. And so the individual had said to me, well, man, what am I going to do here? You going into the military, you're gone, you're going to leave me behind. And when the person told me that let me know right there exactly where they stood. Crabs in a barrel theory. Don't want to, when one crab is getting ready to climb out of the barrel, the others are pulling back down. So you want to be careful of who you hook up with, or who you allow into your life. what's their mindset. So when you have an individual development plan for your life, consider the people that you're going to have relationships with, and that includes family members too. If they're not for you, they're against you. If they're not going to help you, you can do bad all by yourself. So you need to consider that. Yeah, and that goes for work and otherwise, relationships. Know how to vet those individuals. Know how to vet the right individuals that come into your life. Now, when we talk about resources, how do you plan to use your resources? We are here for a certain season, and we have to make sure that we best use our resources the best that we can. That means knowing how to capitalize on certain opportunities. Opportunities, especially good ones, they may not necessarily come around that often, so you have to know how to capitalize, because that one opportunity could be your breakthrough, and you don't want to miss that window. I consider an opportunity is what's a good example I could use? I guess it's like waiting at a train or a bus stop. I'll use a train station, and you're waiting for your train to pull in. Now, if it has a certain time for that train to pull into the station, you want to make sure that you're there early at the train station, waiting for its arrival so you can get on board so you don't miss it. Because once that train pulls out and leaves the station, there may not be another one coming in going to that destination for a long time to come, or that may have been the only train that was headed to that specific destination. So you need to know how to utilize your resources. That includes finances as well. How do you plan financially for your future? For young people, you're young right now, but the younger you start planning, the further ahead you'll be when you get older. For those of us that are in the middle age categories, at some point we are going to look to retire. And if we don't think ahead and make certain financial arrangements or sacrifices now, then when we get to be senior citizens, we might be working until we go to the grave. So you have to use your resources wisely and plan appropriately, because nothing lasts forever. Not in this life anyway. There's a scripture from Ecclesiastes that says, "Cast thy bread upon the waters, for after many days thou shalt find it." And what's that's basically is talking about, it basically deals with planning. It's planning. Taking resources and planting some seeds, and then you may not see nothing immediately, but later on down the road you get a return on what you planted or what you invested. And that's the same for finances or for your resources. How do you plan to invest your resources? And when it comes to investing, whether it's with your time or with your resources or with your money, you have to be able to forego instant gratification. And I see a lot of that in this age that we're living in. It's like everybody wants instant gratification. But anybody that's ever became anything worthwhile or was successful at it, they had to make certain sacrifices and had to deny themselves instant gratification in order for them to be successful in the long run. The one thing that you don't want to be a flash in the pan. A flash in the pan, it's like, yeah, it's quick, but it goes quick also. So you want to have something that's well built with a solid foundation all the way on up, so that it'll last. And that also brings me to time management. Money can be lost, but time is the one thing that keeps moving that you can never get back. So how do you use your time? Do you use your time wisely, or when time is steadily moving, are you frolicking? Are you wasteful? There's nothing wrong with having a good time, but you need to manage your time wisely. Because for every second that passes by, that's a second that's not going to come back. So you have to manage your time wisely. I see up here with my chart, an individual development plan for your life. You know, you have to plan. What's your 5-year goal? What's your 10-year goal? What's your 20-year goal? You should have short-term goals and also long-term goals, and also you could have some mid ones in between. But nothing worthwhile or anything successful, it doesn't happen just by coincidence or by happenstance. Those individuals that we know that have become successes, you know, big or small, they had to take the proper steps to make sure that they planned and they made the sacrifices. They invested their time and their resources wisely so that they could have the outcome. So, in my opinion, what is the formula for success? I mean, you get many different answers for that, but on my chart, and this is my opinion, you know, what I see is my formula. Proper planning plus hard work equals that success. And you see right there, I got, you know, I gave bro a little afro, but you see he's got that Kool-Aid smile. He properly planned, he put the hard work in, and he reaped the benefits of success. I won't belabor you guys on this video too long, but this is something to think about. Have an individual development plan for your life. Don't just roll around spinning your wheels like you're a hamster going in a habit trail. Basically, just you're steadily running, but you're not going anywhere. You have to put on your thinking cap. You use your noodle. You know, manage your time, your resources, and make sure you establish the right relationships. Proper planning plus hard work equals success. This is all I have on this video. Again, the name of this video is Individual Development Plan for Your Life. Have an IDP for your life. I thank you guys for watching this video and for watching my channel. Please subscribe to my channel. It's Eric Broadus YouTube. EricBroadus YouTube. Hit the like button and hit the unlike button. Leave comments. I'd like to hear what you thought, and please share my channel. Again, have an IDP for your life. This is what I got for this video. Peace out, guys. See you on the next one.